And welcome into a brand new edition of the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey Podcast. If we can ever get this to stop lagging, it's unbelievable the technical difficulties we've gone through. This episode was supposed to be out yesterday, and we may have to postpone it again at this point. I don't understand this. We have a great show in store for you all. We're gonna have Ethan Penner joining the show too. Goaltender for the Victorias, but man. Unbelievable. We're gonna try something here. Okay, it looks like for now the lag has subsided. We're going to try to get into today's episode there is a lot to talk about. Last time that we were running this podcast, well, the St. Boniface Riels were still undefeated. Just trying to think back. The Victorias are still trying to kind of find their way, same with many teams here in this great league. And there was even a trade that's happened too since then. We've been able to see some call-ups playing in certain games from certain teams around the league here. But the big story before all that ended up being, the fights seen around the province on our Instagram. That's where it was only shared. I believe we shared it on Facebook too, since my personal Facebook account is connected to our G-Show Productions Instagram account. But yeah, a bunch of people have seen it. I'm sure if you're watching this episode, you've seen this already too. This was, back in November, the Victorias taking on the Transcona Railer Express on a Thursday night where, things got quite hectic. Take a look. Seawalk bulldozes number 15 and Willis over, and now we're going to get fighting breaking out here. Oh my goodness, in front of the Victoria's net. Penner got a shot on a player again. Penner's looking for a goaltending fight too. It looks like him and Thomas Wyatt are going to duel off against each other. My goodness, this is a first in mmjhl game day history. It's the 1-2 feed on Wyatt from number 29 in Penner. As Wyatt gets some good shots on Penner. As Penner now in a headlock, he's getting fed the blows as he gets taken down by Wyatt. Standing ovation from both ends of the crowds as both goaltenders, they be kicked out of this hockey game. I believe so. And as I'm lagging here, we're going to put it back to a promo screen to try to get us back to normal. Seawalk bulldoze. That was Ethan Penner taking on um, Wyatt Thomas in that fight seen around the province. As yeah, that was a ways back at this point. We've posted a lot of content since on our Instagram page, but yeah, 84 and a half views, not 84 and a half, 84 and a half thousand views on our Instagram, which we are quite thankful for here on the network. And yeah, what a night that was in the mmjhl, as that game had really no penalties going on. And yeah, of course, Thomas Wyatt and Ethan Penner dueling it out against each other in that game, which yeah, ended up getting really rowdy in that point. And of course, there were a bunch of other fights that also broke out during that time. And here to talk to me about it is the goalie on the victorious side, and Ethan Penner, as we not only talked about that night in particular, but as well as how the season's been going for him at that point when I talked to him, and we talked about his junior hockey career as well, as he came to share with us some news that he ended up spending some time out of province for about a year playing in a different hockey league here in the junior landscape. We'll get into that and much more with Ethan Penner coming up next on this edition of the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League podcast here on G Show Productions. It's Ethan Penner joining this edition of the MMJHL podcast. Ethan, the fight seen around the province, blowing up on our social media page, on our Instagram specifically. Happening last Thursday against the Transcon Railer Express, you dueling with Thomas Wyatt. Take me through what exactly went down there. There was a whole bunch of commotion before that fight that ended up happening.
Yeah, it was one of those things where we were down 4-1 and the tone had to be set somehow. So me and Sax kind of looked at each other and we're like, it's time. And sure enough, it happened. It's something I've been wanting to do my whole career as well. So it was good to get that out of the way. And you don't see it much now. So it was fun.
Oh yeah, and last time it happened, from what I saw, or one of the times it happened, was back in 2003. Someone commented, which is nuts. That's almost as old as I am. But yeah, you've been around for 3 years now in the league, and it did in fact like a spark under this Vix team, as they were almost able to complete the comeback. And we had actually spoken during the intermission. You felt it was something that had to be done. What was that like, being to witness your team almost coming back after that crazy fight and the crazy sequence that happened?
Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, they didn't score after, so props to Sobkow coming in there and shutting the door. Did superb. So that's awesome. And that was just super cool. I thought we had it. I thought we had it with the empty net for sure.
Yeah, and so close as this VIX team has been many times. We'll get into the biggest one of the season here coming up in just a moment. But going back into the fight, something you had just said to myself, that it was something you wanted to do your whole career. Take me through the actual fight, though. What's going through your mind as you're approaching Wyatt?
I'm like, this is actually happening. I couldn't believe it. I kept telling myself like, wow, like I just couldn't believe it. And then you get in there and you kind of just black out. You don't really remember much of it. Your adrenaline's going so high, right? So, but yeah, I was shocked. But after what was happening, is awesome.
Oh, I bet the adrenaline was pretty high,
Oh yeah.
pumping through Penner's veins. And of course, you've been suspended for a few games. Are you going to be back soon? How long did that fight nab you in terms of a suspension?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think me and Wyatt both got 3 games. So that one for the fight and then 2 for taking our own helmets off. So it actually wasn't. I thought it would be a few more than that. So be back soon.
Well, yeah, in a few games you'll be able to join this squad that was able to take down the Reals, the first team to do that this season on Tuesday. An electrifying game in its own right. I assume you were there watching the boys. Take me through what that's like to see a team like this that, has been through a lot of struggles so far this year to finally come away with a huge one like this.
Yeah, I think it was deserved for our group. We've come up close so many times with other teams, and to finally just shut a team down like that just shows how much character and heart we have, right? We are a good squad. We just seem to be missing that one extra push. So to get that win feels really good.
Yeah, and it's a pretty young team, considering the teams that this VIX team has had in the past few years and the teams that you've been a part of. What's that dynamic been like, being kind of like the one of the older players on the team this year compared to years past?
So it took some getting used to for sure. You step in there and you think it's going to be like another year, but you got to set the example for the rookies for years coming now, right? You got to set that culture in the room, and I think us 21s we've done a pretty good job. We have a super tight knit group outside of the rink. Even we're always hanging out, whether it be in whatever. We're a tight group, and yeah, I mean the 6 or 7 rookies we do have, they fit right in with us. So
Yeah, and they've been contributing, or yeah, I guess putting up big numbers on the ice so far this year as Liam Saxberg leads this team in points. Ben Dinez, Tyler Free have had big games all season long. Same with Chris Astorino, and it's crazy that some of these kids are still in high school on this team and making this impact, right? Has that been, I guess, one of the neatest things to sit back and watch so far this year to see that youth truly take over for this team?
yeah, that just shows 2 3 years how good this team will be. Uh, Whatever. Some of them are leading our team in points this year already, and it's crazy. So in a few years, they're gonna be really good.
Going back to your career so far, you've had a chance to start back with this team in 2023, 2020, or 2022, 2023. Then was back with the squad in 2024, 2025. Is that an error on the website, or
Nope.
take me through exactly why you ended up taking a year off, I guess?
Yeah, so actually, I started my career here in the MM. Halfway through the year, I actually got traded to a league in Ontario, so I went there. And then from there, I got traded to the VIJHL in BC. And then I turned 20 and decided it was just time to come home.
Well, yeah, and I mean, quite an experience for you to have in a short amount of time, right? Take me through what that was like, being able to go to Ontario, then to BC, and then, like you said, coming home.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a different experience you're building. So you're playing with players from all over, kind of. And yeah, super fun.
How would you say that experience has been able to, I guess, shape your career afterwards? Coming back, getting more playing time with the Victorias last season in a year where this team had championship aspirations.
Yeah. I don't know. You just kind of you're 20 years old, so you've been playing for juniors for a long time now, and you kind of just realize what has to be done. It's just another game. You just look at the simple things and put it towards your game, and I don't know, always show up in the best form you can, help your team win.
Coolest experience on the road down in Ontario, as well as BC, and also which one of those provinces, I guess, do you prefer?
Well, I'd say I played in northwestern Ontario, and I played on Vancouver Island in BC. So I'd probably have to take Vancouver Island. It's absolutely beautiful there. But yeah, in Ontario we were in inaugural season, so it was the first year in the league. So that was pretty cool to be a part of that for sure.
Yeah, what experiences came with that? Was the fan base boom, and I assume that experience from just the game day atmosphere must have been unreal, right? With a new team into the mix.
New team in the mix, small town, so it's kind of everyone looks forward to game day there. You're you go out and they know you play for the team we played for. So yeah, small town is fun.
Right on, and great to hear that just junior hockey, it's infectious everywhere in this
Yeah.
province, no matter how big or small the town you're playing in may be. But Back last year, of course, this VIX team actually, I'd say probably two very disappointing back-to-back years after making the championship in your first year in 2022, 2023. Take me through, I guess, last year, this team falling short from a play perspective.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I mean, we that first game it kind of goes down to that last 1 second. I think we pot that one. I think that series goes a whole different way. Um, I don't know. You kind of want to move on, right? It's a new season. You want to move on to that for sure, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough, I feel like, to come back from something like that, right? When you're up by that much. And I mean, momentum, it plays such a huge part in the playoff series, and that's just something that the Reals were able to generate against not just you guys, but every single team they played against better than anyone throughout the playoffs. But looking at this year with the way things have started off and with how close this team has been and how young the season is, how competitive all the teams truly are. I mean, St. Boniface has quite the cushion up top right now, but that could change at any point. We've seen this in the past in the MMJHL. How confident would you say this group is moving forward, knowing that they're coming off the biggest win of this season, a really tight-knit group, as you said, and a group that is still truly learning to figure things out on the ice?
I think we're moving forward for sure. We have been since the beginning of the year. That win just proved what we can do as a group this year, and I think we're gonna start putting some wins together. This group we have.
And going up against a team that is desperate themselves to get back in the win column. They've been sliding a bit in the Stonewall Jets coming into St. Vital tonight. Then this team goes on the road on Sunday to face off against the Pembina Valley Twisters. Two games where it'd be very beneficial for you guys to win them, of course. But what's the mindset, I guess, from this group? What's the vibes been like heading into these upcoming games this weekend?
Yeah, excitement. I think we know we can beat these two teams, right? Very beatable teams. So if we just go in there, keep working hard, getting pucks deep, all the simple stuff, should be able to win.
Well, looking forward to seeing this team in action tonight against Stonewall. Wishing you the best of luck when you do come back and do suit up again with this team in a few games after you're done serving that suspension for the big fight last Thursday. And I guess one last thing I gotta ask you, Ethan, is you seem to play with an edge in your game, not just with that fight, but it seems like anyone that comes into your crease, you're not afraid to give them a few blows with a block or a glove, hey?
Yeah, no, I definitely like to play on the edge a little bit. It keeps me more in it for sure. Keeps me more in it. But I've had to calm down this year. I got a talking to last year about taking unnecessary penalties, so got to try to slow down this year.
I mean, that's fair. Whatever gets you into the game to compete, right? And
Yeah.
as long as you're able to tone that down and not hurt the team with unnecessary penalties, I mean, it's just all that more entertaining, right? So
Mhm.
can't wait to see you back in action this year, Ethan. We got plenty of VIX coverage coming up still this year, including tonight. And like I said, best luck moving forward this year.
Thank you, Graham.
And welcome back into the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League podcast. Was just joined by number 29 and Ethan Penner. as he ended up serving a bit of a suspension after that game, that fight against, the Transcona Railer Express. And, well, after that for the St. Vital Junior Victorias, in terms of the little win streak they were able to put together afterwards, as we take a look back at this team's schedule through November, St. Vital would lose that game against Transcona 4-3, but then they would come away with, at the time, the biggest win of the season for any team, and most certainly theirs, with a 4-3 victory in a shootout over the St. Boniface Riels on Tuesday, November 18th. They followed up with a shootout win 4-3 over the Stonewall Jets, and then a 9-1 victory over the Pembina Valley Twisters. Since then, though, for the Vics, they've dropped 3 games straight, but throughout that winning streak, there was potential shown from this group, a younger team than years past, and a team that actually has found themselves getting a bit younger by trading away one of their assistant captains. Start off this year in Connor Mitchell. He was actually dealt a few days afterwards to St. Boniface in exchange for 18-year-old forward and Grayson Matthews. So the Victorias, we'll get into that transaction and the transactions they made in just a moment, but they're a team that has a lot to like, and I think a team that's still continuing to mature, right? Like, how will they now respond after losing 3 straight, after winning 3 straight games? And I think being able to show that they were able to put some wins on the board is positive for this group near the end of their past month, especially against the opponents they end up beating, right? I can't even imagine what that must have done for them to beat the St. Boniface Riels, with the confidence they were able to gain from that, which they were able to put together 2 more wins afterwards. So I guess the goal for this Vics team is going to be trying to, like any team, find that good success this season, but how do you build off of that and build consistency in your game? I think once this young group can start to do that more consistently and build off of their performances with more wins instead of losses, that, once a team finds confidence, it's a dangerous thing, and can't wait to see if this St. Vital team is able to find some good confidence throughout this season. As for St. Vital, they're currently in the last playoff spot as we currently sit, for the Riels at the top of the standings, but they go to battle tonight with the Transcon Railer Express. We'll get into that game in just a little bit here. In terms of how November ended and December started, the Fort Garry Twins, speaking of winning streaks, they've been able to build up about a 3-game winning streak now, and they, of course, sit 6th in the standings, looking to, of course, move their way up to potentially 4th by the end of the weekend. As we take a look at the power rankings here, brought to you by Movement Fitness and Performance, decided to put the Railer Express on top over the St. Boniface Riels, and the reason for that is, even though St. Boniface has the head-to-head over the Railer Express, and depending on how that game goes tonight between the two sides, nothing would change. The best Railers could do is make it 2-1 in the season series only for the Riels, instead of going down 3-0 tonight. But as we can see here, I put the Railer Express on top just simply because, well, the reason why we had St. Boniface on top for so long was just how they were undefeated and just didn't look like they could be stopped. But in their last few games, they've done a lot more losing. Their record should be at 15-1-2, as they dropped one of their most recent matchups against the River East Royal Knights in a shootout. So I guess just taking a look at that and taking into account that the Railers are the hottest team in the league right now, and they pretty much got an identical record to the St. Boniface Riels, that's why we gave the Railers a bit of a bump. The Hawks and the Knights didn't feel like it was necessary to move these teams around. I feel like right now the Hawks have firmly established themselves as the third best team in the league. And as for the Royal Knights, even though they've seen a few more losses pile on their loss column as the season's gone along, I still feel like just taking a look at the opponents beneath them, they've shown that they've been able to best those opponents more times than not, right? So that's the reason heading into this week I had the Knights where they were staying at fourth. As for the Twins, I bumped them up a spot compared to the Stonewall Jets just for the fact that, the Twins have been hot lately, and there's been a bit more inconsistencies in the game of the Jets. There's been more consistency in the win column shown from this St. James Junior Canucks team. As for the St. Vital Junior Victorias, they also move up a few spots just due to the Raiders and Twisters, their lack of consistency in the win column as of late. And speaking of the Raiders, last night losing by quite a bit to the Stonewall Jets, as we'll show you in just a moment here once again. Stonewall putting up 9 on the Raiders, and the Raiders, their past few games in the first period, haven't exactly treated them well. As back on the 28th against the Railer Express, they gave up 6 goals in that first period, and they gave up 5 in the first period yesterday against the Stonewall Jets. And the Twisters, we actually had moved them up when we were going to put our power rankings out the last time, but we never got a chance to put out the episodes, so they fall all the way back down to 10th, where they are the only team with only 1 win and well over 10 losses so far to start off this season, as the Pembina Valley Twisters round out our power rankings at number 10, brought to you by Movement, Fitness, and Performance. As for tonight, there's going to be 3 games on tap, and one of those games is going to be the Transcon Railer Express and St. Boniface Riels, which we will be broadcasting, taking a look at both teams' rosters. They are star-studded. These are 2 deep teams, 2 teams that play with a lot of speed, a lot of physicality, both really solid in net, and 2 teams that don't like each other a whole lot, as we've seen from how their games have gone throughout the past 2 years at this point. I know the Riels, the last time they had met the Transcon Railer Express, I believe they ended up winning by a score of 3-0. First game of the season, which was actually the season opener for both of these teams, ended up going to the Riels with a 2-1 win in overtime. A game where they started off down 1-0. And in this one, I expected to have the chances to go the distance again in terms of going to overtime. These are 2 of the most well-structured teams in the league, and I think the 2 teams with undoubtedly the most talented rosters in this league assembled heading into the year, and that has played out as the year's gone along. The trademark for the Railer Express has been their offense this year. Highest powered offensive group in the league so far, as they are way ahead in goals for with 87. As for the Riels, their trademark has of course been their speed, but as well as their defense, and they were way ahead of teams last time we had talked about them, but since then they've seen that goals against number come a lot closer to what the Railer Expresses is. Both teams are really solid on special teams. This game tonight is going to come down to which teams can do the little things right, which teams are going to be able to win the board battles consistently, and which teams are able to capitalize when they do get their prime scoring opportunities, and whichever one of these teams can open up space the most should have quite an advantage, although I feel like we're going to see a pretty tight checking game in this one. Really, the key for both teams is simple. Maintain your high level of play, trust your process, and hope that some opportunities can come your way where you have a chance and are in a moment where you're able to capitalize. I expect us to see a really good goaltending duel in this one. And yeah, who knows, maybe we see a high-scoring matchup at the end of the day. But these are the 2 best teams in the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League. It's going to be really important to whichever team can keep their emotions in check the most and just play hockey. Should also give themselves the best chance to come away with the victory in this one here tonight, as it's going to go live at 7:30 p.m. You can catch it on gshowproductions.uscreen.io. $7 is the price of admission. 50% of your portions go back to the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League to help us in our mission to help fuel junior hockey in the province of Manitoba. All of this isn't possible without you. Your support means the most to us. Thank you so much for supporting us, if you have so far this year. When we talked about goaltending duels, we have a chance to see, which I would assume Sage Delarone gets to start tonight, the league's win leader, going up against either Owen Larocque or Alex Dominico. Dominico is yet to lose a game yet this season, apparently, but that is untrue because he lost against the St. Vital Junior Victorias back in that shootout loss that was talked about. Owen Larocque, though, does have the best save percentage in the league, so whichever goaltenders we get in this one tonight, it's going to be fantastic to see them in action. And hey, our MVP pick heading into the year, Peyton Bateman, selected by us, or by myself, in the 2024 or 2025-2026 pregame show. Well, he's had himself a big past few games, and most notably last night, as he's all the way tied now with his teammate in Gavin Halad and Cole Davis. Nathan Brzezinski's numbers still pretty incredible. Only 14 games played, and he's got 26 points. Can't wait to see him, Davis, and all the Railer Express, all the St. Boniface Riels in action tonight. As for us here on the mmjhl podcast, that is going to do it for this edition of the show. I've been your host, Graham the G Show Forsyth. Special thanks to Ethan Penner for coming on the show and being a guest in this episode, to you, the viewer, for tuning in, and to our sponsors in Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Elite Prospects, Goaltenders, Movement, Fitness, and Performance, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for supporting us and sponsoring another edition of the show. Sorry we didn't have a chance to check any comments in the live stream. I haven't really wanted to touch anything, just given the technical difficulties we've had. Hoping the technical difficulties can sort themselves out for next week, though. As for this weekend, we're going to have 3 games that you can enjoy, all on gshowproductions.uscreen.io. Be sure to book your spot now so you don't miss these wonderful games that we're broadcasting. Enjoy all the great hockey coming your way this weekend, MMJHL fans. And until next time, I've been your host, Graham the G Show Forsyth, peacing out and waving so long. Thanks again for watching. We're going to leave you off with our Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia commercial, and then end this show with our intro.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.